So, turn on the light. Bit bright, ain't it? So we're talking about the justice system, right? We're talking about retributive justice versus restorative justice, all these other things. So I'm going to tell you what the communist view of justice is, right? So us communists are basically the golden center. We're the golden center, okay? We're radical centrists, basically, right? That's why we dominate history, because we're correct. Radical centrists reject centrism in cases where one side is clearly, like, if the right is saying that, like, I don't know, like, Mexicans aren't human, and then the left is saying Mexicans are human. I side with the left 100% on that. But when it comes to most other things, or a lot of other things, I'm totally a centrist, right? And when it comes to criminal justice, law enforcement, that sort of thing, us communists, in a sense, are centrists, right? So I'm going to give you what the original problem is this, right? There are people in our society who were so abused as children that it broke them. It broke them entirely. And they can no longer find joy in loving other people or building community with other people. They can only find joy in abusing other people. And the conservatives will take, we're going to take these lists of people that we consider criminal in somewhere, and we're going to put them in prison, and we're going to make a business out of it, and we're going to make a bunch of money on it. And then the liberal idea is, well, we're just going to let everybody do everything all of the time. And if somebody starts, like, getting violent, we're just going to, like, give them, like, a restorative justice sit-down session or whatever. Like, no. So and it also brings us into the far right thing of eugenics, right? Okay. You could say that us communists are guilty of a sort of eugenics. Sure, yeah. It's like a mild form of eugenics, but yeah, sure. Right. So in a communist justice system, right, what we do is we basically take these people who have been so abused throughout their lives, right, that they know of no other path than to abuse others. And the first thing we do is we try to rehabilitate them. We try to rehabilitate them to the best of our ability. And in that, I agree with the anarchists, I agree with the leftists, all of that, But, if they walk away from that rehabilitation saying, I'm changed, everybody knows the story of, like, those people that get out of prison and say, I found Jesus. I done found Jesus. And then they murder, like, a liquor store clerk. And it's like, how predictable is that? How many times are we going to let people walk all over us, say, I found Jesus, and then walk all over us again? We're not going to keep letting that happen. We're not going to keep letting that cycle continue. We're not going to keep letting white supremacist conservatives create color revolutions and counter-revolutionary formations in urban neighborhoods and try to create this sort of false flag attack against white America or whatever. It's not really existent. It never has been. The attack is against working class people, and it's being waged by the bourgeois. And for many of color revolutions, the communist way of dealing with this is we try to reform people, and if they don't, we practice a very mild form of, I guess you could call it, a mild form of eugenics. If you have been so abused as a child, and so that you know of no other way than to abuse other people, that's a miserable life, and we're going to put you out of that misery. We're not going to allow you to attack other working class people. And the fact that you yourself come from a working class background, or or that you yourself are working class and poor and desperate and oppressed, that's not going to stop us. Because ultimately, we're in a position here of our own arm being infected and having to make the decision of cutting off that arm. It's not a fun. So we're not like the fascists, We're not looking for criminals or subhumans or, inferior people or whatever that we can target and exterminate, right? We are trying to look out for the better health of all of humanity, and that depends on removing people who are repeatedly violent towards other human beings, specifically those who are violent in ways that are not defending themselves or defending their communities. Okay? Because if we don't check that, if we go through the liberal method of just forgiving everybody all the time, right? Well, all the serial killers and all the rapists that we release from prison are just going to become the new cops. And it's not even that I'm saying that we should have a system that there won't be new cops. Although I do, because I'm an anarchist at heart. I'm a personal anarchist. It's just that I realize that anarchy is not possible, and so I realize we're going to have some kind of cops. Okay, we're going to have some kind of country. We're going to have some kind of borders. And I think it's time now, rather sooner than later, that we take command of this new process unfolding so that we have some footing in place when shit really hits the... We're still living in the second era. We're still living in, okay, you know what? I'm going to give the football to the leftists on this one and say, yeah, I'd say for the next maybe 5 years or so, I could say we're still living in a white supremacist country that's ruled by European interests. Sure. But that era is waning, and we need to, right now, reorganize an American people, an American civilization, to actually handle the shit that's going to hit the fan, right? And it starts from the community. A lot of that is community defense. Doesn't always mean defending your neighborhood from, protesters from, the Proud Boys or Oath Keepers or any of these other groups of pussy bitches that aren't even real gangs. No, you have to very on a real level say, okay, if you're waiting at the bus stop and some random dude comes by and slaps you upside the fucking head with a fucking chunk of a brick, right? Who are you gonna call? Who can you call? Who are your people that you can call and talk to that dude and fucking visit that dude, right? And try to say, hey man, we don't want to have to hurt you, man. Cut this shit out. Talk to him. I'm all for that shit. But if it keeps going on, you have to have a sovereign response to it. That doesn't involve calling the police. That doesn't involving the old order, the old government. And I think most of you leftist anarchists just ain't about that. You just ain't about that life. You just ain't about that life. The fact of the matter fucking is that, shit hits the fan, you're gonna run and you're gonna call it, because you're the people that scream ACAB the fucking, you scream fuck the police the loudest, but you really about that life? I don't think you are. I'm not a gangster. I'm not a warrior. I'm a fucking warehouse worker that stocks shelves. Difference is, I admit it. I don't pretend. I speak for the revolutionaries. I'm not a revolutionary. I speak for the revolutionaries, though. And I think the shit that I'm saying is true. I think that if you take the liberal boot off of our necks, you will see new forms of authority arising, and it's not necessarily bad. You liberals are so scared of gangs. Ooh, it's gangster. You're scared of gangs and vigilantes. Ooh, it's gangs. There's gangs running the streets. Oh! These vigilantes, they're not properly respecting the established law establishment. Oh. And it's always, especially like liberal women. You know, it's this with liberal white women, especially. Like, oh no! Oh, our plantation is burning! Ooh, our immigrant servants are being taken away from us! Ooh! Whatever, the empire is gonna collapse, people are gonna cry, people are gonna scream. Whatever, you know. Put a cock in their mouths, tell them to shut the fuck up, you know. They're all a bunch of dumb cunts. Fuck them! Fuck them! Are you, colonial settler? Are you a European settler, or are you a European white settler, or are you an American? And if you're American, you better put some goddamn blood into this fucking... You better put some blood into this soil. You better put some blood into this. It's the blood in... It's not blood and soil, like the fascists say. Like, oh, well, you've got your ancestors' blood in that soil. And that's... No, you have to put your own part in. You have to put your own part in. You have to give up. You have to give up yourself. You have to die. 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 You have to die inside. You have to sacrifice your ego to the greater good of the collective, or you're going to die. You don't deserve a country. You don't deserve a self. You don't deserve anything. Are you going to stand up, or are you going to be an American, or are you going to be a white European settler and go run away and piss your pants like a little pussy bitch? Am I going to have to fucking take you? Am I going to have to drag you? We don't need permission from anybody else to build this new glorious civilization. We don't need permission from anybody. We don't need permission from the white liberals. We don't need permission from the Baizul. We don't need permission from the DSA. We don't need any fucking permission. We're going to build our new world order. The people will build our new world order. The people's conspiracy is not a secret conspiracy anymore. It's been hatched. We are taking over. And you can't stop it. You can complain about it. You can cry about it. But you can't stop it. Are you a proletarian? Are you an American? Are you proletariat? Are you American? Or are you a white European settler pussy bitch? Because anybody who expresses any sort of unpatriotic sentiments, get them the fuck out of here. Shove them back to Europe. If Europe doesn't have them, let them fucking drown for all I care. Because we're going to build an American civilization. The people's conspiracy will be hatched. We will defeat their new world order. We will build our new world order, and we will take over. And the people that I answer to are the authority. You can cry to me as much as you want. You can complain to me as much as you want. I don't even like communism. I don't like Marxist-Leninism. If I had my way, we would all be a bunch of anarchists. We would all be a bunch of hippie anarchists sitting around in trees, smoking pot, having orgies, and doing drugs, and, like, finding ourselves. Yeah, that sounds fun to me. Sure. I guess. But what the fuck does it matter? What right do any of us have to do to find ourselves when we don't have sovereignty in our own country because we are ruled over by this concept that the mainstream left has rightfully pointed out, this heritage of white supremacy, this heritage of fifth column unpatriotic Europeanism that pervades our country? How do we get it the fuck out? How do we stomp it out? You stomp out this unpatriotic sentiment by rooting the people into the soil. And we take the intellectuals. We take them all. Trump will support us, by the way. He'll give us money to do it, too. We might even get him in our pocket. And we're going to take them out to the countryside. We're going to take them just to the outskirts of the city where all the factories are. We're all going to have productive jobs. That's it. There's not going to be any of these make work jobs. There's not going to be any more of this liberal establishment. Do you get it? The South can complain as much as they want. They're not going to get recompensated. They're going to forget that heritage ever even existed. We're not even going to brainwash it out of them. We're just going to tell them the truth of what is happening. Not under my will. I'm just a guy. I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm telling you what's going to happen. You can cry about it, you can whine about it. This is what's going to happen. The American civilizational state will rise, and you're allowed to cry about it as much as you'd like. I might even cry about it some. Like I said, my ideal world isn't some civilizational state of whatever. I just wanted to chill. This is the point we all find ourselves in. We find that our childhoods living in a liberal democracy were a lie. A lie sugar-coated by the images of Mario and Sonic dancing across our screens, and blockbuster movie rentals and popcorn and all that you eat, just like the kids in the 1950s with their drive-in theaters. But we've known all along, even if we don't admit it to ourselves, that it was all built upon a lie. God didn't give us freedom. That's why liberalism is a lie, because God never freed us. God did not make us free. The martyrs who died and bled for our freedom made us free. They passed us the torch, and we must keep it lit. We must defend it against those who would extinguish it. This is the situation that we now find ourselves in, fellow Americans. This is the situation we now find ourselves in. You can run from it, or you can confront it. Option A or B. Those are your options.